Good morning, YouTubers. I thought it was well past time to do an updated shop tour. I haven't done a shop tour, I believe, for 6 or 7 years, and a lot has changed. You know, generally this is the surroundings, so I'm pretty private around here, and I'm fairly close in the city. This building right here is the bench shop. That's much more developed than the temple, the Wadkin Temple. This, of course, being an addition on a chicken coop when I originally bought the property, and this one of my own conception that contains many of the details as a showpiece, so to speak. I'll give a better view of these sorts of things. The Ottawa Premier Craft Center, also known as my shop here, also now has a resident blacksmith, and that's his beginnings there. Nick Verbray, excellent blacksmith, and it's very lovely to have. So generally this is where much goes on, and I'll give you a bit of a tour of the inside. Once again, we're pretty private here, and I'll try to make this as quick as possible. So we come in, I'll turn the lights on, and I guess, you know, I'll start at the front door, which is actually a handmade door from 1850. Historic in every way. I think that's appropriate. Now, that's my rotary phase converter. I have this in a number of locations. I can turn it on, and generally, this is the area where we do a lot of our bench work, okay? And trust me, it's remarkably clean. So I'll try to explain or show you the machines and a brief description. This little burr screen, this is a 6-inch Pattern Maker's bench planer. These were manufactured for a short period of time, and you notice it says burr screen, not Wadkin. This is prior to Wadkin buying burr screen, and this is one of the very first parallelogram tables. In other words, there's no ways that adjust it. Massive head and skewed knives. You can see that the knife is actually on a slight angle, and it's a skewing cut. Block is massive. This little planer weighs more than that planer. Just a lovely piece that we use quite often. Here is the wall of danger, and you can see we have Wadkin cutting blocks. These actually go on the radial arm saw. Those are the PK blades, the general blades, and amongst other little apparatus. But that's where I keep sort of all of that stuff. Little welder in the side, but we'll slowly move that stuff out of here. We have a sliding door. This door can slide. And this little area here is the milling corridor. So how that works is we draw a machine out into this corridor, and we can mill long lengths. Here we have a cutting station. We have our chop saw. We have our radial arm saw trenching, and this is a little bit of a safety guard. A little nose piece that manufactured. It's fully adjustable, goes into a return box. Really quite a lovely machine. Of all the radial arm saws, I must say in this class 14-inch, this is really a good saw. The one thing that's very lovely is everything's up front, table locks, so we can replace up and down. What I did do on that though is I added a little bit of a board here that pinches that shaft so it doesn't its height stays absolutely perfect. A nice Delta 17-inch running on a variable frequency drive so that we don't have to have any belt changes. It also has a foot feed, which is great for production runs, and the tables are perfectly level for extended bed use. We never adjust that table. There's enough quill travel here to either use this little pop-on, and so it's very easy. These older presses, the heads move up and down, so you can adjust your head up and down. This one actually doesn't have the crank handle that would make that more convenient, but modern drills generally don't have that. Hitachi F1000 Planer. These are the original lunchbox planer, except they weigh about 600 pounds. Universal motors. Okay, cutter block is a square type of cutter block that spins 10,000 RPM. Knife marks per inch on that is brilliant. Neoprene rollers. A very unappreciated quality planer. Just a small little Delta shaper. This one we use for copes. It's got a coping sled in it right now with, you know, to do a scribe. And, you know, it's a light little thing. A dual drum 26-inch thickness sander. You know, a couple grinders. Veritas lapping plate. Okay, another grinder, some, you know, really disorganized sorts of things. Engelbird Waterfall sander. This is 10-inch wide. This is a precision plate, surface ground plate. This model used to have cast iron, and they've in later years. Well, Engelbird at any rate made replaceable plates, and so it's a much better design. Originally made in Syracuse by Porter Cable, and lovely sander. This is, of course, a Wadkin JY bobbin sander. Just a brilliant piece of work. Here's all the bobbins. In fact, I've got stuff up in there that I've made rug collars, and this is all custom work to do specialty stuff. This is a pretty rare machine. This is an Oliver bottom scroll sander, and this allows paper comes up from the bottom and rolls over the top, so you can drop this sander into a mortise hole, believe it or not. It was initially designed to do gingerbread pierce carvings in chairs and stuff like that. Runs a 12-foot belt through a serpentine motion here, so the paper lasts an extremely long time. Another Burrs Green pre-Wadkin. This is an FS. And it's running on a variable frequency drive. It's a very smooth saw, 16 inches, 2 horsepower, direct drive, beautiful Brooks motor, just a lovely thing. We made a little counterweight here to make the adjustments a little easier. But other than that, just a fantastic machine. Now this little 16 is about 900 pounds, so it's a nice little saw. Toolbox never really developed into anything great. Clamps, perhaps there might be better solutions for them, but I've never have enough clamps, so what can I say? There's a bunch over there. Wood heating, which is very handy. We call these Canadian garbage cans for you Americans. It gets rid of a lot of garbage and heats the shop up nicely. We only use this when we're in here. This is the Stenner chain chisel mortiser. This thing is unbelievable. In the world, I've only talked to a few people and seen a couple of these ever show up. Stenner really never made small stationary equipment. They made massive resaw sawmills, and in the 50s thought that they should run a line of what they called light duty machinery. And their light duty machinery is a friggin' joke. What I mean is, to call it light is a bit ridiculous. It's a brilliant design, unlike any mortisers I've ever seen. This whole column area runs in ball bearing huge tracks, and the entire head traverses up and down with lever plus foot feed. It is capable of the table entirely removing and stuff just clamped directly to the table. It is both a chain, a chisel, and a slot mortiser combination by removing interchangeable heads. It's about a 1950s model, weighs plenty, and just a friggin' joy to use. This is a little chair maker saw, another burr screen, a very rare little outfit. The actual saw tilts, not the table. So it's a little mini ship saw. You can see it kind of tilting there. That's under the process of being rebuilt, and I'll show that in later dates. But it will replace that one, which I will sell with a bit of hesitancy, but I will sell. I'm past the hoarding stage. I'm now returning the shop to function. Nice little Delta carbide grinder, great for doing carbide, high-speed steel, and quite convenient, nestled beside the Wadkin RS lathe. This is the 10-inch model, capable of almost 8 feet between centers, but you can see I have a little BCA jig borer sitting on the end because I rarely take advantage of its length. It's a fantastic lathe. I have all kinds of chucks and apparatus that make it just fantastic to work. Prior to this, I had a little lathe and hardly did much turning, but this machine is used extremely often. It's again running on variable frequency drive. If you're unaware, I do sell custom-made VFDs, and the best I've ever come across. We run a lot of variable frequency drives in the shop here, as well as rotary phase. I have every single voltage in three-phase and single-phase, all being converted from single-phase house power. And so that's it. The little jig bore is a new addition, and fantastic precision machine. Probably give me everything I need. Currently have a little Wadkin knife setting stand for setting up shapers, cutter blocks, and whatnot. And you know, here's another small little burr screen BRS spindle molder, which is a lovely little heavy-duty small machine. Very heavy, excellent quality. A General International 8'6" beds I've made here, so this is great for long stuff. So in the bench shop here we have an 8-inch and a 12-inch planer, and that takes care of the majority of things. And of course there's the Wadkin PK. It's a beautiful saw. And what's great about having two saws is ones can always be set up. This is from the 1950s. It was purchased at an auction from Gibbard Furniture, the oldest furniture manufacturer in Canada. And I'm glad to be the owner of that and carrying on its tradition as making lovely furniture. And of course, just a good old 10-inch cabinet saw, which I'm just old school, and I still enjoy using that style of saw. It's just quick and convenient, and General made a very, very good saw. And so the space of the space in here is about 800 square feet, which isn't terribly large, but in the winter is easily heated and kept climate controlled, and lots of windows, lots of natural light. I won't work in buildings that with no natural light anymore. I think it's detrimental to your psyche. Here is the sort of drafting design room. We have a little Powermatic scroll saw, 24-inch, that we run on a variable frequency drive as well. This is the 3-phase system, and I can show you that. So we have a starter here, but I have them all through the it's displaying the voltages, amp readings. Red light indicates 600 volts. Step-up transformers, main disconnect. Rotary phase is in an insulated box. And once again, that's it. I'm going to try to turn this little back room into a tool room. I've got some grinders and stuff, and here's an 1.25" Robinson spindle ready to go back together in the main big shop. But you know, it's just keeping a bunch of my toolings, Kennedy chest with just, you know, machinist tools to maintain, just to maintain